extra super duper haunted. Why is my sister's clothes glowing? From ceiling to floor was covered. So today I'm going to tell you the story of the time I spent an entire summer in a haunted dorm room. So a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm not saying that ghosts exist, and I'm also not saying that ghosts don't exist, but I'm just going to tell you what happened. I'm going to present the facts, if you will, and I'm just gonna let you guys determine whether you believe it was a ghost or a human that just never got caught and was just messing with us the entire summer. So before we get into the actual story, I gotta give you a little bit of backstory. So the town in which I went to school, or I do go to school, kind of known for its haunted nature because of the foundation in which this city was built. And it was built on burial grounds. Not just any burial grounds, Native American burial grounds and slave burial grounds. So with that being said, people believe that this town is like extra super duper haunted. And everybody knows that every building, every sidewalk, every brick, every leaf, like everything in this town has some sort of a supernatural haunting story to go along with it. And that does not exclude the school that I go to. Every summer, my school has like a handful of summer programs. And each summer program has their own designated dorm, their own designated residence hall. So this is now jumping into the story. A few years ago, so this building no longer exists. Just want to put that out there. And the room doesn't exist as well. So the building exists, the room doesn't exist. Me and my sister, we were hired on into one of the summer programs. So with that, you know, like I said earlier, we lived in the designated building. You don't get your own room. You are like paired up with another one of the leaders that were hired into your specific program. So you do have a roommate. So moving day comes and we're moving our things in, we're getting everything set up because we're like, we're gonna be here an entire summer. So we want this space to actually be enjoyed, like livable. Like we don't want it to be like a hotel where it's like, oh, at the end of the day, you just like come and lay your head down and count it as that, you know, that be that. So when it gets a little dark out, I start, you know, I get done setting up my side of the room and I start hanging my clothes in the closet. As I'm hanging my clothes in the closet, you know, in the corner of my eye, I see something kind of glowing, you know, just glowing in the closet. It's not like behind me, it's not anything, it's in the closet. And it's not like big or anything, like it's tiny, like a little tiny thing. So earlier in that day, my sister had already hung up her clothes in the closet. And this glowing was kind of like coming from her clothes. So I was like, why is my sister's clothes glowing? Like, what is this? So I go to her side of the closet and I kind of like part her clothes aside and I look and there's a mark, just a mark on the wall of the closet, on the back wall of the closet. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. Like, it kind of looks like glow in the dark paint, you know? Like, I was like, you know, looks like glow in the dark paint. I think nothing, I don't really think anything too special of it. I'm like, that's weird, you know? I call my sister over and I say, hey, come look at this. She comes over, she looks, she's like, oh, what's that? I was like, I don't know, it kind of looks like glow in the dark paint, you know? It's just a mark, you know? Looks like glow in the dark paint. The mark itself kind of resembled something of a tally mark. So it was literally just like a line. It was just like a line that kind of looked like one tally mark on the wall. It just looks like it was done in glow in the dark paint. So she's like, that's weird, huh? You know, we think nothing of it. We go about our night, we go to sleep, you know, next day comes, you know, we're doing our thing. And night rolls around again for the next day. And I'm on my way to go to the bathroom for night, you know, brush my teeth, wash my face, like just to get ready for bed. And I notice that there was a little bit more glowing in the closet. So I'm like, stupid tally mark, like whatever. But I just happened to, you know, glance over and look. And this time, there's like a little bunch of tally marks. And this time, it was kind of like behind my clothes, you know, kind of like behind my clothes, kind of like in the middle of where like my clothes end and my sister's clothes began. So it's like just enough for me to be able to see it without me having to like physically go and like investigate. And I'm like, that's weird. I could have sworn that wasn't there yesterday. And I was like, that's weird. So I called my sister over again. I was like, hey, come look at this. Was this here yesterday? And she's like, you know, she comes and she looks and she's like, that's weird. I mean, we weren't exactly looking for other tally marks yesterday. So for me to say whether or not it was there or wasn't there, you know, she was just like, I couldn't really say. So I'm like, you're right, yeah. I mean, like, it could have been there and we just not noticed it, you know? So we shrug it off. We're like, oh, you know, the stupid freshmen that were in this room before us, they must have done this, you know? Ugh, stupid freshmen, you know? So we wrote it off. We didn't think too much about it, right? So we go about our days, you know, a couple days go by, and again, at night, I'm on my way into the bathroom. My sister's sitting on her bed because both of our beds shared the same wall and they were kind of like facing each other. So I'm on my way into the bathroom, headed to the bathroom, and as I'm going into the bathroom, I notice more tally marks. But this time, the marks aren't in the closet, they're in the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, this is starting to creep me out a little bit. Like, honestly, this is really starting to like strike a chord, if you will. So I call my sister over again. I'm like, hey, come here. You know, come here, come look at this, come look at this. And she comes and she looks at it. You know, it's in the bathroom and she's like, yo, that's weird. And I'm like, exactly, that's weird. That was not that, like, it was definitely, these marks were by the mirror, and the mirror was by the door to the bathroom. And it was in a spot where, like, you couldn't miss it. Like, you could not miss it. If you went into the bathroom, you couldn't miss it. And we have been using the bathroom for a good few days now. So the fact that we never noticed these tally marks, we were starting to get a little creeped out, right? So naturally so, we're like, this is a little creepy. It's also kind of funny. We're trying to write it off, like maybe it's, you know, the glow in the dark paint, you know, the freshmen, whatever. Like they're trying to pull one over on the school or whatnot, whatever, right? So we had come to this conclusion because we both were honestly very creeped out, that we would just leave one of the lights on and a couple of lamps on at night. Like we would never go a night where a light was not on. And it sounds really bad to say this, but our mentality was, we're not paying for the light bill, so it shouldn't really matter. That's a terrible mentality, but that's what we were thinking. That's what we were thinking about. The next few days, go by. We're actually in training for the program before the program starts. And we were letting the other, student leaders that got hired for the program, we were telling them about the tally marks in the closet. And we were like, guess what the stupid freshmen did before us? They put glow in the dark paint in the hallway, in the closet, and they put it in the bathroom, and they are so stupid. Freshmen. So everybody else, we were laughing it off, having a good time. Pretty much the entire summer goes by. Actually, the entire summer does go by, the entirety of the program. So we're like on the last day that like the program is over, but we as the leaders had, I think, extra week or a couple of days or so to like pack our stuff up and pretty much either put it in a storage unit or go home with it, whatever, just move our things out. So just like any other, school year, at the end of the program, we had to get like a room check done. And the room check was done by the intern who was hired on for college credit to help with the program. So we made an appointment with her to check our room, to make sure that we didn't damage anything, that everything is the way it was when we moved in. I want to say luckily so, but at the same time I'm kind of double guessing whether it was lucky that this happened. But we just so happened to make the appointment with her like right as soon as it was getting dark outside, So she comes over to our room, she knocks on our room door, we let her in, and she's like doing her walkthrough of the room. And right as soon as she's done, my sister remembers, she's like, oh, Basha, let's show her the tally marks. And I'm like, yeah, let's show her the tally marks. And she's like, oh yeah, that was the thing that you were talking about earlier in the summer, right? And we were like, yeah, it's in the closet and the bathroom, right? So I go to turn the lights out, and when I turn the lights out to show her the closet and the bathroom, when I say that I'm not exaggerating, okay? The entire room was covered in tally marks. Covered in tally marks. I'm just going to let that sit. Yeah. The entire room, from ceiling to floor, was covered in tally marks, handprints, and words. 2 words, to be specific. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, my sister and I, our beds were on the same wall, but they were like facing each other. And the tally marks were around the room, but the handprints were specifically over our bed. And it, like, this building, it was an old building, and it was an old motel, and we were on the second floor. So we were on the second, like the top floor. Like there were only 2 floors, but we were on the top floor. So you know, like the ceilings were high, right? Ceilings were super high. Like in order to touch the ceiling in that room, you had to be on a ladder, and you had to have like a really good, not like a mini ladder, not like a mini ladder, like a good sized ladder, right? And there was handprints right above our beds from the ceiling, drug all the way down to right just above where our heads were sleeping. And in the middle of our beds, like right in the middle of, like, my bed's here, her bed's here, so like right in the middle of our beds were 2 words: get out. Yeah. She was standing there, she was shocked, and we're standing there shocked too, because remember, like I said earlier, just a mark on the wall of the closet. This time, the marks aren't in the closet, they're in the bathroom. There were only tally marks in the closet and the bathroom. Closet, bathroom, closet, bathroom. There was nothing in the main room. There was nothing, like nothing in the main room, right? I'll tell you one thing, like, they don't have to tell me twice. Get out, get out. I will gladly and I will happily abide by what you're saying. So luckily we had a friend who was who lived off campus and who was still in town for the summer. So we called her up and we were like, hey, this is what happened. Can we stay with you tonight? Yeah. You are, there is no question that you are staying at my house tonight. So even though we were in the middle of like packing things up, we kind of just like, when the lady left, we kind of just was like, nope, we're leaving. So like as we're leaving out of our room, you know how you talk to the ghosts or you talk to the ether, like as you're backing out of the room, you're like, so sorry, whoever is listening, so sorry, I didn't mean to upset you, please don't hurt me, I will take my stuff if you need it, like take it, I don't even need the clothes, just don't hurt me. Like, don't hurt me. So like that's what we're doing as we're exiting the room. Like we're just like talking out into the ether, like whoever is listening and whoever has done this, please don't hurt me. I'm so sorry I made you angry. We're leaving. We're not gonna stay here tonight, and we're leaving tomorrow. Like you never have to see us ever again. The next day we come, we get our things, we're out. I think we even hit record timing for packing and leaving. Like we were done by noon. We were out. Like we were done. We were like not even about this place anymore. So fast forward about maybe a month later, the guy that was in charge of overseeing the student leaders for this particular program, I get a phone call from him, and he's saying like, why didn't you tell me something had happened? Like you need to let me know these things. And I'm like, how did you figure this out? Like I didn't tell you, like how did you know this happened? And so my sister and I, we had told our mom, you know, what had happened. We're like, yo, this is what happened during the summer. This is crazy, isn't it? And our mom was like, yo, that's scary. So she told him, because they had met and they were pretty much like friends. So he gets me in touch with campus security. And so campus security the guy that he got me in touch with, I kind of knew that guy as well. So he was like, Basha, like, why didn't you say something? Like, these are things that you need to let us know, you know, so that we can do something about it, like in the moment. Like, we need to, like, this is actually quite alarming. So he's like, so what we're gonna do, he was like, what we're gonna do is, he took down the room number that I stayed in. So he knew that I stayed on that second floor. He's like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch the cameras that are in the hallways to see if anybody went in your room. Because during the summer, there was like a handful of workers like going in and out of the building. Because, you know, it's summer, they were either replacing furniture from the previous year or doing maintenance, like cleaning things, or like doing minor construction maintenance, like painting a wall or something like that. So he was like, so the campus security guy, he was like, you know, we're gonna watch the tapes, we're gonna see if anybody went in your room so that we can do something about this, because this is not okay. I was like, I'm so sorry, like, I'll let you know next time. I didn't know this was like such a big deal, you know? And so maybe about a few weeks go by. Honestly, I don't remember the time span of when I first talked to the campus security guy to the next time that I talked to the campus security guy when he was giving me the update on the situation. This is the creepiest part, because up until now, you can kind of like explain it away as maybe one of the workers that were going in and out of the building. Maybe they just chose a room. Like maybe they just thought like, oh, let's mess with somebody this summer. And they just chose a room and they all just like were getting, you know, giggles and getting laughs out of it. You know, trying to like spook the students in the building, you know. Like up until then you could really just like kind of explain it away as that, because the maintenance workers, they had access to all of the different rooms. And he's like, yeah, you have to let us know. He said, because we watched the tapes back and we couldn't identify anybody. And we couldn't identify anybody because on the tapes, the only people that went into your room was you. It was you guys, you and your sister. Like the only people that went in your room throughout the summer was you and your sister. And we were just like sitting there looking at each other like, that's kind of spooky, you know? So yeah, that was the time I spent literally an entire summer in a haunted dorm room and never knew it. I'm not saying that ghosts exist, and I'm not saying that ghosts don't exist. I'm just telling you what happened and letting you formulate your own opinion as to what you believe went down. So with that being said, I have a ton of more stories to tell, both from college, not from college, from when I was younger, from maybe about 2 days ago. I just have a ton of more stories to tell. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.